pre-close and synthesis and transformation today. So what is going to happen is as follows. We're going to start with SNGS Weighted Assessment 2. Then we'll move over to our St. Nicholas Girls School Weighted Assessment 2. And subsequently, when we have time, we'll look at St. Nicholas Girls Prelim Paper Section B. Okay? So come, let's take a look at these SNGS papers, synthesis and transformation very, very quickly. Look at number 1. The students are allowed to use their mobile phones. They must adhere to the school guidelines. Okay, so for this question, you can see there's an outcome, which is here. Allowed to use mobile phones, as well as a criteria here. They need to follow school rules. So when the criteria is being met, then you can get the outcome. Okay, very good. Fish chips, is it? The students are allowed to use their mobile phones provided. Yes, okay, very good. We have one answer from fish chips. That's correct. Any other answers? Okay, I'll just write it down first. Okay, let's move on. Look at number 2. You can go to the dentist tomorrow. Mother told me. So we are looking at a direct to indirect speech. So when we encounter such questions, I usually encourage you to make edits to your original question first. So you will be changed to I could go to the dentist the next day. Okay, when you use this, when you make that small edits, it slows down that thinking process. So, you can prevent careless mistakes. Yeah, you see fish and chips. Tomorrow, you need to change tomorrow to the next day. Why is it can go to the dentist tomorrow? Okay, I think there's some issues with your answer, fish and chips. Okay, I'd just like to point out something. Can here is present tense. Okay, but when I change to could here, this is actually in the past participle tense. Okay, so some of you will be asking, why is it like that? Now, wherever we have this kind of direct to indirect speech, we need to draw a timeline to take a look at our verbs. Okay, so you can see that the past tense and the past participle tense or past participle form is could. Both are the same. Now, you can see that this whole sentence here is in past tense because mother told me. So in this case, what happens is I need to look at the past tense first. From here, I move back one time period to become past participle. And when it's at past participle, I look at the verb that is attached to it, which is could. Therefore, my answer here will be could. I would say that this question is very lenient because the past and past participle forms of the verb, they are the same. But it may not be as easy as this. For example, if I have the verb take, took, had taken. Can you see? So if I were to just assume that it's from present to past tense, I will be writing the wrong verb and therefore my answer will be wrong. Okay, maybe I believe this is WA2, so maybe the examiner is more lenient, right? But we can't assume that such a similar question will come out for your prelims as well as your PSLE. So I highly recommend everyone to use this very simple timeline. Okay, establish what is the tense of your original sentence. Then you move back one time period and look at the corresponding verb. This is how we ensure that we don't make mistakes. Okay? Now look at number 3 now. The celebrity departed suddenly for Japan. This caused anxiety among his fans. Okay, they forgot to add the word the. Now, this is a very straightforward cause-effect kind of question. You can already see that there's anxiety among his fans, and they say that this is an effect caused by the first sentence, the celebrity's departure. Now, we are trying to change, apart from the rewriting the sentence, these two sentences into one sentence, they are also looking at something else, which is the change of word form. Okay, you can see that suddenly is an adverb. It's a manner in which somebody does something, right? Next, we see that the word the here means that we need to put a noun and an adjective to describe the noun. So apart from celebrity, you will need to change this departed to departure. And then the manner in which the departure is being carried out will now be my adjective. So it will be the sudden departure of the celebrity for Japan. Cause anxiety among his fans. I'm not too worried about the effect part, right? The anxiety, this thing, because it's copy and paste. The only issue is you need to know the word form, right? From your verb, the departed to departure, as well as suddenly to sudden. Okay. Now, I believe this is rather straightforward. That you will not copy the celebrity departed suddenly for Japan. You're not going to copy it word for word, right? So we need to use logic in this sense, and therefore think about what are other possible nouns that can accompany this word the. Okay. Moving on, let's take a look at number 4. I had arrived at the airport. I realized I had forgotten my ticket. Now, for these kind of questions, we need to ask ourselves, what is the sequence of events? The author needs to go to the airport first. Then he realized the ticket, he was forgotten to bring it from home. Because the word given no sooner, we're trying to talk about two events that occur closely to one another, occur very close to one another. Okay, And when you have no sooner, you need the twinny, which is then. Okay, please take note, it's THAN. There are many students who wrongly put as THEN. Okay, just take note, this is the rare exception. So we already agreed that the first activity that will take place is the arrival at the airport. So it will be no sooner had I arrived at the airport then I realized I have forgotten my ticket. Okay, this is also a very straightforward question. Now look at number 5. He lost his job as he was lazy. So this sentence has a cause and an effect once again. As here tells me that the reason or the cause is behind his laziness, whereas the losing of job is an effect. And you can see that the prompt given is due to. So when you have due to, you need to tell the examiner the cause followed by the effect at the back. So it will be due to this part here. Now, we cannot say due to he was lazy. It doesn't work that way. So we need to change this he was lazy. This is an adjective to a noun. So it will be due to his laziness. Okay, so we are not looking at just this person being lazy, but we are looking at the different events in which he did not do his work. So it will be due to his laziness, he lost his job. Now, some of you may not be very comfortable changing the word form. Okay, I know some of you are scared, right? You are scared that you spell it wrongly, things like that. So my advice is you can change it to due to the. Okay, I'm sorry. For this sentence here, we only have one answer. But there are some synthesis and transformation where they only give you due to. Then you have dot dot dot. So in such a case, you're able to add due to the fact that da da da. So you can say due to the fact that he was lazy. Okay? But for this question, they are more stringent. That's why they have the word his here. So definitely I need to use a noun already. Can? I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information for this synthesis and transformation. I'll say this is quite a good one. They are a mixture of straightforward as well as challenging questions. Okay? Then we'll move on to our next paper very shortly. Okay. If there are no further questions, we'll move on to our next paper. Okay, so now we'll be looking at 2023 WA2 from CHIJ Primary. It's St. Nicholas Girls School Primary. Okay, we'll start with our grammar close first. Awake brain surgery is where a doctor operates on the brain while a patient is awake and alert. It is done on patients that have brain tumors or seizures near parts of the brain that control vision, movement, or speech. Okay, so for this first question here, we are looking at, let's annotate it slightly. We're looking at patients that possess this kind of things. They have such conditions, right? So we are looking at a relative pronoun to replace the word patients. So it will be who. Okay. This surgery allows the doctor to monitor that the patient's vision, motor skills, or speech that's not affected by the operation. You can see that for question 30, there are three different aspects of the patient which the doctor needs to monitor. So it's plural form. We also observe that present tense is used. For example, the word allows, the brain surgery is. Okay, so present tense plural, we need to use the word are. See. Dash the surgery, the patient will be given medication to make him relax. So you can see that this is during this event, right? The event is called surgery. And this medication is given a few times during this event. So we will use the word the preposition throughout. Okay, since the brain does not have dash pain sensors, the patient will not feel any pain even though he dash awake. So for this question 32, we are looking at how there are zero pain sensors. And the author wants to emphasize the fact that there are no pain sensors. So we will use an intensifier any. Okay. How do I know there are zero pain sensors? It already states before that the brain does not have pain sensors. Okay. Now the patient will not feel any pain even though he dash awake. So now we are looking at a singular subject, the patient. So it will be even though he is awake. Okay. Dash 2017, doctors at the local hospital discovered that a man had a brain tumor. Okay, so for question 34 here, we're looking at how within this year, the patient had a tumor. Okay, so the preposition that we'll use to show that this event took place in 2017 is the preposition in. Doctors at our local hospital discovered that a man had a brain tumor. Within a week, they decided to go ahead and awake brain surgery to remove it. So you can see the two things that are taking place. They decided to proceed with something. And what do they proceed with? They proceed with this awake brain surgery. So these two are similar ideas and they go hand in hand, right? So in this case, we'll use the preposition with to show that these two elements of proceeding with the surgery and the type of surgery is awake brain surgery takes place together. Okay. After the surgery, the man had to go for radiotherapy dash chemotherapy. So over here, you can see that these two are similar ideas. However, they don't happen together, but rather the patient needs to undergo these two activities. So we will use the word and. The success rate dash and awake brain surgery is dependent on the type of tumor and the age of the patient. Okay, so for question 37 here, we're trying to see the success rate, and this is related to this particular type of surgery. So we'll use the preposition of. Dash, many have benefited from this surgery. Now, you can see that the previous sentence says that the type of tumor and the age of patient, these two are factors which will affect how successful the awake brain surgery is. But for this second part, they are trying to tell you that many people have benefited, and the factors which were mentioned previously may not be as important, because regardless of the age, probably the people who undergo this surgery can live longer, correct? So in that case, we're trying to tell people that these factors are not so important. So the conjunction that we need to use would be regardless. Okay. And just give everyone 1 to 2 minutes to look through the text. And if you have any questions, do feel free to sound it out to me. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at editing now. Tom lived in a small village. He was known for his adventurous spirit. Okay, for number 39, this is a spelling error. One day, he decided to explore the forest and chanced there's a secret garden. Okay, for this case here, number 40, there's a issue with the preposition. Okay, the AF say upon, very good. Yes, for this case, the answer is upon, because we are looking at how he found something. Okay, that's the whole idea of chance upon. Found something by chance, by coincidence. The flowers were lovely. Tom could not resist the temptation to pick a few flowers. Okay, temptation once again is a spelling error. As she was picking them, Tom heard a voice. He turned around and saw an old woman. So you can see that this activity was ongoing when the second activity, which is the woman talking, actually took place. So to show that they are concurrent, we will use the preposition while. What are you doing? She asked. Tom explained he wanted to bring the flowers back to show the villagers. So you can see the doing here is an action. So if we want to ask somebody, what action they are doing, the word that we need to use is what. Why is used to show, or rather to ask for a reason. Okay. They belong to the forest. Leave them alone, she warned. Tom apologized. Okay, apologize is also spelled wrongly. Then the old woman handed him a seed. Plant this in your village, she said. With that, she disappeared. Okay, you can see that both are spelling errors. Tom was puzzled. Dash did as he was told. Okay, so there are two things that we observe here. He was puzzled, so that means he's rather confused. He did not know what is happening. At the same time, he still followed the instructions. So in this case, these two pieces of information show kind of a contrast. Okay, so it will be, but he did as he was told. To his surprise, the seed grew into a tree with golden leaves. A few months later, a group of bandits came, dashed to steal from the villagers. Okay, for question 47 here, you could see that this action was ongoing in the sentence. So we need to use the continuous form. So it will be they came looking to steal from the villagers. Okay. Mesmerized by the dash of the golden tree. Now, over here, there needs to be a change of word form. When you talk about the tree being beautiful, you are trying to use an adjective, a word to describe it. But now what we are looking at actually is not describing the tree to be beautiful, but rather we are looking at the different characteristics of the tree, right? That makes it look very beautiful. So it will be a noun. So it will be, they are mesmerized by the beauty of the tree. Okay? They decided to take it for themselves. However, when they touched the tree, they turned to stone immediately. So immediately is spelled this way. Okay? It's quite a commonly used word in your composition. So I think all of you should know. From then on, the tree became a symbol of respect and warning not to take what is not theirs. Symbol is also a commonly encountered word. Okay, and with that, we are done with our editing. I'll leave this here for a bit for everyone to take in the information. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on to our comprehension close now. So this comprehension close passage is about horseshoe crabs. He reads, horseshoe crabs are sea creatures which live on sandy seabeds. These creatures play an dash role in medical research. Okay, for this question here, you can see that medical research is a very important, it's a very critical topic because this concerns our survival. As such, when we look at how horseshoe crabs have a role to play in life-saving research, the closest answer that we will use would be they play an important role. Okay, just take note, over here is N, so it needs to be followed by a vowel. Okay, horseshoe crabs like to dash invertebrates that are immobile and decaying organic matter, which they grind up before eating. Now you can see over here that this is an activity the horseshoe crab will do. And what do they eat? All this, right? The invertebrates that are immobile and decaying. So you can see that your clue actually gives you your answer. So the answer is eat. The ability to do so allows dash to eat most things that they can find. Now over here we are referring back to the horseshoe crab, right? So you're just looking at using another pronoun. So it allows them to eat most things they can find. The horseshoe crab is covered with a hard shell that protects it from dash. It sheds its shell periodically to grow bigger. Now, you can see that when you read on further, that when the horseshoe crab sheds its shell, it becomes an easy prey. You can see when we talk about prey, the other person we will usually talk about is the predator. So actually this clue over here about easy prey actually has some link to your hard shell, because you want to prevent the horseshoe crab from being an easy prey, which means that the hard shell will protect it from the predator. It sheds its shell periodically to grow bigger. After shedding, the new shell is dashed and takes a few hours to harden. Now you can see again, we're looking at contrasting words again. It takes a few hours to harden, which means that before that, it needs to be soft. Horseshoe crabs lay their eggs on beaches. No sooner do the females deposit their eggs in burrows, dash the males fertilize them. Okay, you can see that for this question here, it is our favorite synthesis and transformation tweenie. No sooner, then we are looking at a second word. So it will be THAN. Okay, I need to emphasize once again that it is THAN. For some reason, many students always think that it's THEN, and that's wrong. Okay? After around 20 days, the eggs dash and the young horseshoe crabs float out to sea. So you can see that the young horseshoe crabs actually will form in the egg. So the action would be the egg hatch. Take note that over here is eggs, so this is plural. The dash unique feature of the horseshoe crab is that its blood is not iron based. Okay, you can see that there's the word the here, which is used for superlative comparison. Okay, so we're trying to say that, you know, the feature is that the number one, the most interesting feature. So you'll be the most unique feature. Dash, it is full of copper, giving it a blue color. So you can see it's not iron, but it is full of copper. So we're trying to show that this is the option. This is the alternative color or the alternative mineral present. So you'll say instead to highlight this alternative choice. Scientists use its blood to check dash there are any harmful bacteria in vaccines. So for question 60, we are looking at this scenario. We're not saying that, you know, there will be harmful bacteria in the vaccine, but there is a chance. So you want to tell people that there may be a chance. We'll say either to check if or whether. Okay. Scientists also use it to help them understand how our bodies defend against infections. Dash to its many uses in medical research. Thousands of horseshoe crabs are dash alive. Now we can see that over here, we are trying to share a reason, and the effect is found in the second half of the sentence. Not forgetting, we have a clue to. So in order to show reason, the conjunction that we will use is due to. You can see that there are many users, and therefore you need to take the horseshoe crab to your lab, to your medical lab to conduct the research. Right? So we'll say that the horseshoe crabs are captured alive. Okay. Once their dash is extracted, they are returned to the sea. Come, remember just now we talked about how they use its blood to check on everything. So when you capture the horseshoe crab, is because you want to use the blood. You want to extract the blood, right? It's a bit like your blood donation drive. So it'll be once its blood is extracted. As some crabs die or are injured during the blood collection, this practice puts its population dash risk. So you want to say that the population has certain level of danger, right? So the preposition that we usually use is at risk. So we have to tell people, you know, that what is the effect of capturing the crab on probably its survival. Okay, look at number 65. As horseshoe crabs play a critical role in medical research, the decline of their population could dash disastrous consequences for human health. So we are looking at how this is a very dangerous event, and how when we we do not protect the horseshoe crabs, we are being faced, or the chance of being faced by with this dangerous event is very high. So you'll be the decline of the population could risk. Okay, and with that we have come to the end of this comprehension clause passage. I'll just leave this here for a bit for everybody to take in the information first before we move on further to our next few questions. Okay, if there are no further questions regarding our comprehension close, let us hop over to our synthesis and transformation now. Oh, okay, this one doesn't have synthesis and transformation. So what will happen is, as such, we'll look at our next paper now, which is the SNGS prelim paper from 2022. Okay. So what will happen is we'll look at our synthesis and transformation first before we work our way out through the whole section B. Okay. Okay. Look at question 66 now. The boy asked his mother, "Can you help me?" So we are looking now at a direct to indirect speech kind of question. So the first thing that we need to do is to edit the original question. Okay. So it will be the boy asked his mother. Now there's a question mark, so we need to have if or whether she could help him. Okay. So we need to have this mindset, right? When there's a question mark, immediately your first word will either be if or whether. Okay? She could help him. Now, one thing to take note, can will be changed to could. Can here is a present tense, is in present tense, while could here actually is in past participle form. Okay? Now, some of you will be asking, sure, why is it so? Well, when we encounter such questions, the best thing to do is to come up with this timeline first. We need to ask ourselves, what is the tense in this question? So if you were to look at the question, it is in its entirety, the boy asked his mother, which tells me that this is in past tense. Okay? So from my timeline, I'll look at past tense and I tell myself, I need to move back one time period. So it will be past perfect. Okay? Then when I go for past perfect tense, or past perfect form for that matter, I'll look at the corresponding verb. It's could. Therefore, my answer would be whether she could help him. Hello, who's this grumpy bear? Hello. I hope everyone is following so far. Now, you can see that this question is very lenient because could is the past tense as well as the past perfect form is still the same. But let's say the question is testing you on the verb take. Take, took, and had taken. So imagine you assume that it's from take to is from present to past tense, or from past to past perfect. Your answer will definitely be different. And you know that's how people make mistakes when it comes to your reported speech kind of questions. In fact, the most common mistake I've seen is related to the verb, because people assume that it's from present to past tense without confirming, and that's where these kind of mistakes take place. So please learn the correct way to go about with this question. Okay, let's take a look at number 67. Tommy found the loss of the package worrisome. Now, we're looking at how worrisome here is an adjective. You're describing Tom's feeling, right? That he was very anxious. But now, if we were to look at our answer template that's given, you can see that they want to change the word form from adjective to a verb. Okay, so we need to change to worried. So in this case, it will be Tommy was worried about the loss of the package. Okay, so worried here is my verb. Okay, look at number 68 now. John had not driven the tractor before, and he crashed into a lamppost. So you can see that there's a cause and effect relationship here. John, probably not familiar with the tractor because he hasn't driven before, is my cause. And the effect is he crashed into a lamppost. So what is happening is we are going to combine them in a single sentence. Okay? And you can see that the effect is already nicely written for you. It's just about how you present the cause. And the word given is not. So probably we need to talk about the driven somewhere in front, right? Because these two words come together. So the answer will be not having driven the tractor before. John crashed it into the lamppost. Okay. Now, some of you may be asking, huh? Why like that, yeah? Alright. Because over here, having done something, right? This is used to show a completed action, or rather in this case like some kind of prior knowledge. Then we have the word not in front to show that somebody hasn't done this particular action. Okay, I'll say this one is slightly more challenging. In fact, when we look at our grammar section later this evening, we may encounter such similar question again. Okay, so how I usually remember this having plus my participle form, I'll just think of it as had done, had taken, kind of thing like that, which is past perfect. Okay, so they are very similar, which basically shows that one action took place followed by my second action, and these two actions happen in the past. Okay. Okay, if there are no further questions, look at number 69. The cook was unable to find the ingredients. He decided to change the menu. Now you can see this is an effect, and your cause is the inability to find the ingredients. So when you have the word due to in the middle of the sentence, the effect will take place first, will be presented first, followed by your cause. So it will be the cook decided to change the menu due to his inability to find the ingredients. Okay. Now, some of you may be asking, how do I change this unable? Why suddenly become inability? Well, in this case here, unable means not able to do something. Okay, therefore the root word is able, and therefore his ability. Yes. Okay. Hello, Noel 8877. Hello. Okay, I hope everyone is following so far for our synthesis and transformation. If you have any questions or you have your own answers, please feel free to type them in the comment section and we can discuss. Okay, now let's take a look at number 70. The detective finally solved the case as he was resourceful. So over here, resourceful is an adjective. You're trying to describe the detective, as somebody who is able to get the necessary equipment or find the necessary people and things. Okay, now what we are looking at, change the menu. Sorry, change the menu. Yes, correct. Can change the menu. Yes, thank you for spotting that. We'll just copy and paste this. Okay, thanks for pointing out a grumpy bear. Okay, look at number 70 now. So now with the word with, we need to change this resourceful to a noun. So it'll be with his resourcefulness. The detective finally solved the case. Okay. How do we know that we need to change to inability so hard? Okay, for this one, is it? constant speaking, then can. Okay, I would say that word form, this kind of word form change questions, or rather change of word form question, they are usually more challenging. Okay, even the better students also struggle because they may not be able to think of the correct word to use, like in this case, right? But I think the steps to take, right, is actually the same. The first thing that we need to observe actually is what we call, let me write it below here, is actually to find out what is the root word. So let me give you some examples. Synthesis got full formula. Well, I wouldn't say it is a formula, right? Because all your words are different. I cannot predict what the examiner is going to test you for PSLE or your prelims. But what I can assure you is that we have certain steps to do, certain steps to take. Okay, and when you do these certain steps, you will be able to you will be closer in deriving your answer. It's like running. I can't tell you when to stop, when to slow down. You may run in different parks, different stadiums, but what we know is the steps, how to pace yourself, everything will be the same. So I'm teaching you these kind of skills. Okay, so the main thing for this word form question is to identify your root word. So for example, fulfill and fulfillment. Can you see? When I change from my noun to my verb, the root word will remain. Okay? Or let me give another example. Lazy to laziness. Can you see that actually the root word actually remains, even though the word form changed from adjective to noun. Okay? So unable, we change to inability. Why? Because my root word is able. So my thinking process is I look at able and I change it to ability first. Then we need to ask ourselves, don't have inability, but we have inability. Okay, so you can see the first step is still changing, keeping the root word and trying to transform it. Now, why is it inability and not inability? Then this one is a vocabulary issue. Okay, inability is the only word we can use. Yes, inability is the only word we can use. Why? Because of this irritating word called his. If the question doesn't have the word his, it's just due to, I actually can say due to the fact that the cook was unable to find the ingredients. Can you see how it works? Because I'm trying to replace the inability here, this noun, with the fact that. So I would say that the question actually made it difficult for students because they included the word his. Okay? But for those of you who want to, find the easy way out, you just need to check whether the word his is present or not. Yeah, for this question 69 is slightly more challenging, but I think what's more important is that we learn from our mistakes here, right? I mean, even if you got this question wrong, you're not going to lose any marks compared to losing it during your prelim or even during PSLE. Okay? Are there any more questions? Oh, one last thing I just want to point out is for your word form change kind of questions, there are only I would say 3 ways that they can test you. Okay, the first way, from a verb, action word to a noun, fulfill, fulfillment. What else can we say? Okay, try this. Accommodate. The noun will be accommodation. Okay, another example for you. The second way they can test you is your adjective to your noun. So you're trying to describe somebody. Lazy to laziness. Happy. Happiness. Can you see? Actually, it's not really words that you never encountered before. Most of them, you probably seen them. Just that you just didn't know that, oh, this is the noun of this adjective. Okay, and the last one that is slightly more challenging is what we call adverb to adjective. Adverb basically show you the manner in which something is done. The downpour happened suddenly. So if you want to change to adjective, it will be the sudden downpour. Okay, you don't usually see this third option or this third option being tested, very often. But it still exists, and the teachers can actually test you. So you need to be prepared. Okay. So I'll leave this here for a while for those of friends who are taking notes. Okay, and when I go through other synthesis and transformations, I would refer back to some of these skills that I've shared. Okay. So some of you who want to, be familiar with all these root word and word form change kind of questions, you actually can, take note of them as you go along and do your papers. I'll leave this here for about 1 minute. After that, then we will move on to our comprehension close passage. Okay. Okay, come, let's move on to our comprehension close now. Okay, the text reads, have you ever thought of donating to help people in need? Sharing what we dash helps others live happier lives. Many people also give back because they are grateful for what was given to them. Okay, you can see when we share, the act of sharing means, you're trying to give other people what you have. you own something, then you're trying to give. Let's say I own a few toy cars. I give one of my toy car to my brother. That's the idea of sharing, right? So when they say sharing what we over here, we are trying to show that it refers to things that we have. So you'll say sharing what we own or have. Okay, the idea is to show that you possess the items that you share. Many people also give back because they are grateful for what was given to them. Cannot. What is AR? Cannot are. Or as in your answer is can, is it a grumpy bear? Or are you telling me that oh, your answer is can? Okay, sharing what we can helps. Okay, you need to ask yourself, what's the meaning of can? Can, basically, you're trying to tell people they have the ability to do something. Okay, so there is no relation to possession. So I don't think we will not accept this. Okay. There's a difference. Okay, we need to ask ourselves what's the underlying meaning. Then that's how we answer the questions. Okay, let's take a look at number 52. There are many ways to give. Charities and organizations dash recruit volunteers to raise money. So we are trying to say that charities will actually recruit people. Very good. Organization that, or you can say which. Okay. For example, Red Cross collects donations, enlists volunteers, brings food and medicine, dash victims of floods, fire, and earthquake. So you can see, they bring the food. You need to bring to a particular destination. Who are the people? Okay, very good. Victims. Therefore, we'll say bring it to the victims. Okay, very good. There are many charities seeking donations. Choosing the dash one is important because you need to be sure the charity is supporting a cause you believe dash. Okay, very good, Grumpy Bear. So you say choosing the right one, or you can say choosing the correct one. Okay, because you need to make sure that it is supporting a cause. You believe ethical one can. Even though I'll say I would say that right or correct will be better answers, because over here there may be 1,000 different ethical charities, but you will not want to donate to every one of them, right? Because not all of them actually support your cause. So while the vocab ethical, if you have to put it in, it makes grammatical sense, it will not be the best answer. Okay, remember, for comprehension close, the whole idea is we need to find the answer that is based on the clues that the text have. So we need to be very clear of that. Based on the clues, I get my answer. It's not about trying to just put in any word that makes the whole sentence run. Okay, look at number 55 now. You support a cause you believe dash. So usually this cause is something that in your brain you agree with, their mission statement and things like that. Very good. That's why we will say you believe in. You also want to make sure that the money is used to support the cause and not for dash else. So you can see, they either can use the money to raise funds, or we could say that the money is used for something else, not someone. Because over here we're looking at the cause. The cause itself is not a person. Okay, the cause here is a noun. So we're looking at causes like, for example, poverty alleviation. Okay, we have another answer from Harlan. Is it anything else? Also can. Okay, apart from donating money, you can also volunteer your time. When doing so, you get to mingle and talk to people who dash in desperate need of help. Okay, take note, people here is plural. And we are also looking at how you get to, so it's present tense. Okay, very good. Grumpy bears who are in need of help. You can also volunteer your talents. Let's say you are good at dash sports, reading, or baking. Now, this one, we need to look at a verb that is paired with sports. Okay, very good. Playing. Any other answers? We also can say good at doing sports. Okay, any verb that makes sense based on our clues will be accepted. What charities could use these talents? If you are a good reader, you can tutor children who need help in reading. Good baker, you can help to dash the hungry. Now you can see hungry need to eat. Very good grumpy bear. So we say feed the hungry. If you are good at sports, you can coach sports teams. This is how volunteering can dash a difference in people's lives. Now you can see this is a phrase that we usually use. So it's what we call collocation. Yes, very good grumpy bear. So we'll always say make a difference in people's lives. Now let's take a look at number 61. In 2006, Read Really, sports writer, wrote an article urging readers to donate at least $10 to dash for a mosquito net for African children. Okay, you can see that at least $10, and the money collected will be used to do this, to get the mosquito net, right? Make. You cannot make, you see, the problem is there's a word for here. You cannot say you make for a mosquito net. I can make a mosquito net. Okay, very good, Sue. So the answer here will be pay for the mosquito net. Okay, so sometimes, when you have this $10, the clue, you will start thinking about, what are the possible answers. But I think what is more important is you also need to take a look at the sentence, and what are the surrounding words, such that you are able to narrow down your possible answers. Okay, malaria is a disease dashed by mosquitoes. Okay, so you can see the disease, this mosquito is like the means or the method of spreading the disease. Okay, grumpy bear say caused by mosquitoes. Okay, we need to be very clear here. The disease is actually it's not the mosquito cause the disease. The disease already exists in our earth, right? But the mosquito is the method in which the disease spread. Okay, grumpy bear, right? Okay, you can see we are coming out with possible answers now. Take a look. The word here is by. If you want to say pass, it needs to be passed from the mosquito. Okay? Very good, Sue. So in this case here, is spread by the mosquitoes. Okay, or you can say carried by the mosquitoes. The bottom screen flip. Okay, give me a moment. Is there a way to unflip the screen? Can already. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, can. Thanks, Chris Redfield. Okay, it is okay. Now can, right? Everyone can see. Okay, good. Okay, let's go back to our text. Mosquito nets are important tool in dash children from mosquito bites while they sleep. Now you can see the mosquito bites is not something we want on the children. So you want to prevent it. Prevent mosquito bites. Right? So how do we, what do we what kind of words do we use to say in protecting children from the mosquito bites? Because this is something we don't want. Okay. The term nothing but net is used when the basketball goes through a hoop without touching the rim in matches. Really used this term as a play dash words in his article. In keeping children from mosquito bites while they sleep. Okay. So for this case, if you want to keep, okay, can everyone hear me now? Cannot be keeping, because if you want to use the word keep, it needs to be keeping the children safe. Okay, you need to have the word safe. You cannot say just keeping children from mosquito bites. The sentence doesn't make sense. Protecting or shielding children. Okay, I'll accept shielding. Okay, hello, who is this? KZ. Yep, shielding also can. Okay. Okay, very good, everybody. Now let's take a look at 64 now. So really use this term as a play dash words in his article. So you are trying to say that you are playing, and what are you playing? What kind of things are you playing? Over here, the word you're trying to use words to spread a certain message, right? So in this case, these two are being done together. So you say you are playing with the words. Okay. Really use his talent as a writer to show people the need dash action. Now, what we are doing is there's a need, and what is the need? What is it about? You're trying to elaborate. It's the need for people to do, donate and things like that. All right. Okay. Are there any more questions? Are there any more alternative answers? Hard. Are you saying you're saying that this passage is hard? Is it? Well, I would say that for this passage, we will say that we will expect it to be slightly more challenging because it's prelims, right? But I think it's good that we are exposed to more challenging passages, and just have that ability to, I would say, experience, the thinking process in order to get our answers, right? PSLE will be so hard. PSLE is generally less difficult than our prelims. But what about in for 65? Cannot, right? 65. The need in action. Cannot be need in action. You need to ask yourself. In is a preposition to show, is usually used to show position. In the, for example, we can say in the classroom. In the year 2025. Okay, for KZ. PSLE, yeah, okay. So back to Grumpy Bear's point, yeah. So I will say that in this case, the main thing that we should take away from every TikTok session that you attend would be more of understanding the thinking process behind getting all these words. Okay, I feel that most of these words you probably will have encountered them in your reading and your vocab section in section A. Okay, but I think the more important thing is how you recall these words and use them, and a lot of it actually comes from identifying the correct clues to help yourself. Okay. Are there any more any more comments? Any more things you want to share? If not, thank you so much everyone for joining me this afternoon on our Writers at Work TikTok session. Okay, but before you go, just remember that we're gonna have a second TikTok teaching at around 4:30 to 4:40 p.m. Okay, so if you guys are free and like to hop on to learn more about another primary 6 paper, we're doing Tao Nan P6 WA2 from 2023. You can always join us and we can have a good discussion. Okay, till then, I'll see you guys again. Bye bye. Yeah, thanks so much, Grumpy Bear, and our other friends Sue and this KZ. Yeah.